Hey my YouTube subscribers, and welcome back for another video. This is a Southern's Thing, and today we are going to be able to talk about The Watchers. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the video if you like to hear more about The Watchers, the movie.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds can stack back against the wall.
So I enjoyed watching The Watchers. I enjoyed reading the book. If you have not read the book, I have a full description on The Watchers, the book review. I'll put it in the description box so that you can be able to get a full understanding of what the movie was not able to portray. Today, I am doing the review of what I liked and what I disliked about The Watchers. Dakota Fanning was our leading lady in this movie, and I'm just going to talk about likes and dislikes about the movie. And then I'm also going to talk about understandings of why they did certain things in the movie from what I read from the book. So first off, real brief synopsis. Like I said, you can get a full description of the book from my book review, The Watchers. I do have spoiler alerts, and I do want to let you guys know that this production and this small little understanding is for entertainment purposes only and for opinion based only. Please do not drag me in the comments because I do give a lot of spoiler alerts when it comes to some of these books and when it comes to some of these movies that I read and watch. So if you are one of those people who do not want to hear about these spoilers alerts, I am so sorry. This is not the video for you, but I hope that you'll be interested in some of the other content that we have going on the channel. So brief synopsis about the movie and the book. We got Dakota Fanning. She's in Ireland. She goes into the forest. She gets stuck. And there are things called the Watchers that are trying to get them. And so basically, how did they get out? What happens afterwards? So that is pretty much the understanding of the whole entire book and also for the movie. So, little details. I did like the movie and I also like the book, but we're talking about the movie today. The movie was, I guess the best way to put it was not as scary as I thought it was going to be. It's supposed to be thrilled as a horror, but I really didn't get a horror vibe from it. It had suspenseful parts, but it wasn't as scary as I thought I was gonna get. But like I said, it's PG-13, so I can understand why they didn't get, you know, deep and gory and all that other things. But it actually was a good little setup. The acting was okay, and I think the direction of the movie was actually pretty good. A couple of bad things were not the connections that we needed, but the makeup of it. So let me show you what I mean, or let me explain what I mean. So they had to make things up, but if you didn't read the book, you kind of wouldn't really understand. So that's why I wanted to break down a couple of the parts that actually wasn't in the movie that was in the book. All right, so first starting off, Mina, who's the main character, Dakota Fanning, did not work in a pet shop. Now, she did like her cigarettes. She liked her vapes, so I understand why you had to make it modernized. But mostly she smoked cigarettes. And the vapes was more modern for today. Now, this book was made in 2021. So cell phones, tablets, computers, all of those things, GPS, everything was still going on. So the book wouldn't been able to really explain to you how the Watchers were seen. So it was more elaborative in the book. So they had to come up with another way for the movie. And so the other way would be actually setting up a surveillance camera outside of the house so that you could see what the Watchers look like. And that was a great little setup. It's a twist to the story because that's not how it was portrayed in the book. When it was time for them to stand in front of this mirror, yes, they were to be seen by the Watchers, but the reason why they did it is so that you were not causing them any problems, and they actually could do their job. Their job was to watch you, get your attitude, your characteristics, your features, and get it all made down so that they can become you, or they can mimic you. And so basically that's really why the Watchers did the watching that they done. Another understanding that, if you didn't know, going down in those burrows was not in the book. Seeing those newspapers and all the different dates and stuff were not in the book, and that was a break of the rules. So when she went down in there and they started terrorizing, that wasn't in the book, but we did get the part of banging on the glass. What happened was they actually in the book got tired of watching them. They just really wanted to, either they can join the clan or they can just be destroyed. But the purpose, they just got tired. They were bored. But seeing them do performances, giving them rules so they don't break them, all of those things were good things that they added to the movie so that we got a connection of why. But I'm giving you more of a deeper reason why that happened. One thing that you guys probably didn't know, and it kind of didn't really make sense why he did it, but in the movie, Daniel ended up tying Melanie to the tree and take off and go inside of the house. The reason why Daniel ended up doing that is because in the book, Melanie was all about protocol, following rules, making sure everything was good. If you didn't follow those rules and make sure we had food and make sure that we had water and make sure that we had wood in order to do what we needed to do to survive out here, she really just scorned you. Like, she really would make you upset. She would say things to you that was very out of character. So they were really just getting tired of how Melanie was actually treating them. And that's the reason why in the book, when she dropped the keys out of her pocket, because Melanie was the only one who had keys to the front door, she would have to she dropped the keys, and so Daniel picked them up and ran toward the house. So that was the only reason why Daniel did that. I know it didn't really make sense, so I'm just telling you exactly why they did that, and then let it connect to the story. One of the other things that I want to bring a little understanding to is, why did the professor bring one of the changelings, one of the Watchers inside of the actual bunker? The reason why he did that was because he had to make a connection. I'm so sorry for those who haven't watched the movie and those who have not read the book, but the reason why he did that is because he had to make a connection to who Melanie really was. And the only way he can do that is because he had to build a personal relationship with Melanie, or one of the Watchers. And when he did that, then he could get them to mimic who he wanted them to be. And so he was missing his wife, and I don't know, if they had any relations or anything, but we know for a fact that they built a personal relationship with each other, and they were able to mimic Melanie, who is his dead wife, who died of cancer 5 years before. And then he made her into a regular human. Now, what was interesting that we did not know is the history of the halflings, because we didn't know they were gods. We didn't know that they were half human and half Watchers. So the research that they really just gave was really, really good for them to bring out, but it's all of a connection to bring the story together. If we was just to lay out the book, I'm telling you, you'll be confused, and it really wouldn't be a lot of time to see, because the movie would have been really, really short. What they did with the bird was they let the bird free after they figured out what the plan was for them to leave and go to the river to pick up the boat so they could escape. They let the bird go because the understanding was from the professor that the boat would be where all of the birds are released from the trees every single night. And so they released the bird and they could follow the bird to find out where exactly that spot was. So that was good that they did it. But in the book, they had an actual compass. They were told to go to the south. It'll take a day trip for them to get there, and they would have to walk toward that area. And so that's exactly what they did in the book. But it was good to see a change of them doing it in the movie. One thing that they also did not do, and the reason why they did it, I can understand, was so that we could actually see a full image of the group of the watchers and actually see who the watchers can mimic and how they can do it. And that was when John, when they made it to the boat, could call out to Daniel. And we got a chance to actually see that. Now, what happened was when they got to the boat, Daniel was the person who identified where the boat was in the book. And when it got to the point of them spreading out to get toward the boat, they saw one watcher. Only Daniel was the really one that saw it, but all of them got a chance to see it. But they were so far out from the watcher that they were worried, but they weren't too worried. But Daniel was the closest one to them, and so that's why he had got left behind in the book and also in the movie. But the fact that John was able to call out to him in order so that he can come out the woods and we can actually see that whole transition from him coming from a human, his eye color, how tall he got, how his hands deformed, and all of that, that was good to see. So it was greatly portrayed in the movie, but we got a better description of it in the book. A reason why she lied and said that that was her uncle. It's too much dialect in order for them to talk about what really happened in the book. Inside of the book, she went to the library. She did not know what the professor studied. And the clerk really gave her a lot of sass and attitude on getting the paperwork that the professor had researched. And so to cut all of that out, when she went into the study room, because the clerk basically told her, go inside of the study area, I'm gonna bring all the work up to you. And when she did that, she got a chance to talk to one of the TAs that was inside of that study room. She asked about who the professor was. She asked about who Madeline was. She asked about what he did and how he performed as a professor. Was he good and all that stuff? Too much dialect. So I see why she just said, oh, this is my uncle, and went in and started looking at his whole entire office. Now he had papers everywhere. She got a chance to see boxes of maps. She got a chance to understand, like I said, them being gods and him researching. He had big pictures and portraits of the halflings, them being almost like fairies, and then them being humans. So both of them were really, really good. And then I liked how they brought attention to how Madeline was different than all of the other Earthlings. Spoiler alert for those, like I said again, Madeline was a watcher, and she portrayed herself and really just mimicked the professor's wife, whose name was Madeline as well. And then she was able, and I'm talking about Madeline, was able to walk into the light. Now, remember, watchers only came out at nighttime. When they were inside of the coop, when they were inside of the mirror, all of that was provided by light. None of the watchers came in or did anything to them as long as they were in the light. So it was interesting that Madeline was one of the watchers that were able to come out in the light. And it was cool because she was a half watcher and she was a half human. And she was considered different. Considered more of a a halfling. She was more considered of a halfling. So that was really, really cool. And then the fact at the end when they switched it up, the ending was a little different. Now I'm going to tell you what the book did, and I'm going to tell you what you saw in the. So when Mina comes to the house and she is trying to tell Kira who Madeline is, and so she has the documents, she has the pictures, and she's telling her all of these things. Kira shows up, and then you thinking like, okay, I thought I'm talking to Kira, but it was not Kira. That was the real Kira that was outside. Madeline had changed her figure to look exactly like Kira. But as she tries to run around the house and destroy Mina, she turns into Daniel, John, Sierra, Madeline, the professor. She turns into all of these different things. Now, in the book, Mina was already talking to Sierra and the real Sierra. And Madeline was coming around the house because she found out that Mina and Sierra knows. And she tried to destroy them that way. Then she tried to reason with her and told her that we will not tell as long as you keep us alive. And then Melanie says, okay, fine. I will not destroy you long as you keep your promise. Now, the ending in the book was a lot better ending than the one that we saw at the movie. But it's okay. I'm going to tell you the spoiler alert of what happened in the book, and I'm going to tell you what happens in the movie. So we find out, one, what the Watchers are. We found out in the movie who was behind it and why it got started and why was it so big. We found out that Melanie was actually a Watcher, and she was just trying to make home and get as much research, and really she was just left in the place where she started it. And then in the book we find out that Melanie made it over with them again, and that we found out that there were more Watchers that actually made it over, and she was not the only one, and we were waiting for more, but they didn't get a chance to really do that. Lastly, I'm going to say they weren't supposed to tell anybody about what happened at the forest. In the book, it was only Sierra, and I keep calling Sierra. It was only Kira. It was only Kira and Mina who knew what was going on, and Madeline that knew what was going on. Now, Madeline had moved on and did what she needed to do in her life, and Kira and Mina were the only two that actually knew what. So they met up every single weekend and talked about it. And then they would, just have memories about Daniel and John and being in the coop and all that other stuff. But in the movie, you saw that Mina ended up telling her sister about what happened in the forest. And that was definitely not in the book. And I definitely wouldn't have been telling nobody either. But it is what it is. I hope that you guys enjoyed the review. I hope that if you get a chance to watch the movie, that you also enjoy it. The movie premiered today on June the 6th of 2024. Like, comment, and subscribe to the videos. We got more exciting movies, exciting books that is going to be coming. So I hope that you enjoy this content. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on our platforms. It's a Southern Thang Book Club, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.
Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games to play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude knowing it'll be